You're a hell of a card player, fella. I know, because I'm a hell of a card player.
So last part, let's get into this. I thought this would be a fun topic. So this is the 25th anniversary of obviously the greatest poker movie of all time.
Yeah.
Rounders. It's their 25th anniversary. And if you've never seen Rounders, I don't even know why you're listening to our podcast. Just turn off the podcast now, go watch the movie, and then come back. And I want to talk about a couple things today. So first, I want to talk about this in Rounders. I've seen a lot of stuff like people break down scenes and break down stuff, but I want to talk about what's your favorite scene from Rounders? Like, what is your go-to scene?
I mean, I think everyone has this as their favorite scene, but as a poker player, it absolutely hits home with me now. And it only became my favorite scene from experiencing the variance of poker. So essentially when Mike is kind of calling out Kanish for just being like an absolute fucking nitball. I think they're in the sweat room or whatever. And they kind of get into it. And Kanish is like, yo, you little fucking twerp. Like, you understand that I do this for a living. Meaning, like, he doesn't have, all the entitlement that Mike has at the time.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, he's in college, it's being paid for. Like, yeah, he's working his truck or whatever. But at the same token, he's like, yo, what I make and I gamble is all I have to put food on my kid's table, food in their work, all this shit.
I'm not playing for the thrill of fucking victory here. I owe rent, alimony, child support. I play for money. My kids eat.
So, like...
He's like, I got alimony, I got child support. It's seriously, like, you watch it now, you're like, damn, that dude.
So, like, seriously, like, and I feel like it's like a coming-of-age type moment for someone who has played poker for as long as we have. And I don't mean, like, professionally, right? I just mean in general with the thought. Like, we're 21, poker boom, right? We start playing cash and we're like, this is it. I'm going to ship a bracelet. It's going to happen. And then you realize in, I don't want to say a short period of time, that it's a lot more difficult to live your life the way that society sets it up and be able to do the things that you want to do in poker. Because again, we've interviewed so many people that came on and they all have some similar stories. Like, yeah, I went to school for this, but then I just decided to play poker. And now they're not doing what they went to school for. They're just grinding.
Yeah.
And that is like a decision that is like for some, it's a crossroads.
Yeah.
We obviously went the work route. We didn't go the poker grinder route. But again, that's without a doubt my favorite scene in the whole movie now. But back in the day, I mean, come on, like when I first watched it, it's obviously when they're playing the final table or the heads up match and he sees his tell, and he fucking slams the cookies against the wall. And
I think too, I think a little deeper into that, and I know it's more of the highlight, but like, so then he tells a story about Johnny Chan, right? He tells a story like basically like, look, he took a shot, he knocked this dude down a notch, and he knows that he can compete at that level. And I think two things happen there. Like, one, obviously you see the Johnny Chan story. But two, Kanish then understands, like, he is a kid. He's chasing a dream. Like, Kanish doesn't want to get in the way of it, but he's not going to also, like, sit there and watch him, like, burn as well. But he understands the dream at that point.
Yeah.
It kind of is like, shit, like, I get
maybe this kid does have what it takes to get there.
Yeah. And, he even says, he's like, I know you have talent. I'm not doubting that. There's no doubt in that. But, yeah, it's two different people. And he's like, I'm trying to lay out the road, the playbook that I, laid out.
Yep. I gave you the playbook. You just don't want to follow it.
Yeah. But when he hears that story, he understands, like, he's going for it.
Because I think he sees himself in him just a different stage in his life. Like, the whole thing. Like,
it's a great, dude, like, Rounders is such a great movie, and I know we're very biased because we're poker players, but it really is. Like, there's so much deep into it that, like, just the storyline and the relationships and, like, that's just that moment in time has been captured, I think, great before the poker boom. And, yeah, that is.
But that's
great.
the thing, like, 25 years ago, like, if you think about it, like we weren't even into poker yet. We were still, like, I mean, I was playing Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was literally trying to catch them all on Game Boy.
Yeah, we were still in high school.
So like, I feel like it came out at a time that it wasn't mainstream, but then it is that like cult classic for poker players that like you watch it and it's like, why did this do so poorly? Yeah. And just because like the niche of it at the time just wasn't hitting to enough people.
And it caught up with it.
It caught up.
It was there.
Yeah, poker caught up with the movie, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw my favorite scene out there. My favorite scene is a little bit, I guess I don't want to say personal, but at the same time, just because we're from Atlantic City, the scene when like he walks in and all his shit's gone. And I'm like, well, I've been there before. I know that moment. And so, like, I love that moment. He walks in and he's like, and then Worm's like, just that temperature, just like, let's go to AC. Let's go to Atlantic City. And he's talking about, he's like check raising tourists all day long.
Yeah, check raising stupid tourists and taking huge pots off them. Yeah.
And they head down to AC and they go to the Taj. And so I like that scene, obviously, because, it's like a little personal, that feeling of like, losing somebody. But at the same time, I love that the Taj is in there because now it's like what's the word?
Memorialized. Yes, because it no longer exists.
It no longer exists. So if you're not from here, you've probably seen it in the movie, but it's no longer there. And now the Hard Rock's there, and they don't even have a poker room, which is a whole other story. But the old carpet, the people,
dude, the carpet,
the rooms, and I'm looking around and like you see the cashier cage and like just that scene when they're all playing together and like everyone kind of knows each other, and it's like it's kind of like that, to a certain point. Who's new when you sit down.
Yep.
But the Taj, I mean, we still haven't done an episode on the Taj, and we have to do one in the future because that's a whole 3-hour podcast of the Taj.
Yep. Dude, it's so funny because right after I graduated college, like I was literally like, I was just grinding, man. I was working like 2 or 3 jobs, and I was just waiting to get like my break, what I went to school for. And I worked for a security company that like did concerts, like event staff type thing.
Yeah.
And there was a ballroom right outside the poker room, and it was like I don't want to say it was like Mark J. Edis Arena. It was something along those lines. It was an arena where they had like huge shows, and sometimes they would have shows that went to like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And I remember one time I was there working a show till like 2-3 a.m. and I was like, dude, I can't wait till this show is over, because as soon as it's done, I'm going right to that table, because I'm sitting there like within walking distance of the poker room. Show got over, my shift was over, turned my shirt in, and I sat at the poker table at the Taj till like 7 a.m. after working.
There's so many great. We have to do. We're gonna have to do it this winter. We're gonna have to do a Taj episode, remembering it, because there's just so many memories. I mean, I just poured in, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but that's why I like that scene. I just like that.
Yeah, it's good.
It just brings it back. It's always gonna be there now, and I feel bad for the people who never experience it. And then the other thing too is in that scene, or in the beginning when he's talking, I think about in the beginning of the movie, he's talking about how the Mirage is like the home. The Mirage poker room is not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so this summer I actually took a little TikTok and showed a little video where it used to be and posted it. It's now just a bar, and I was like, I was kind of like depressed. And me and Mike were walking around the Mirage, and we went by there, and it's no longer there. But so that's our favorite scenes from Rounders. Let us know what yours are. You can drop them down below in the comments and let us know. My last section.